Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Billy Bones reporting from the Boneyard. This is podcast number 28. We're here today with Blaze. Good morning, Blaze. How are you?
Good morning. Good. Yeah, glad to be here.
Seuss is in the background moderating over here, hanging out, being our co-host, and
Good morning, good morning.
we'll get
Great,
things
great guest,
underway.
man, with a great episode. Yeah, let's get things starting. I will be announcing this podcast right now in Discord. We will share the link. By the way, guys, if you are watching live, you have a choice to watch either on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, I believe, as well as Twi- uh, Twitter. Right, it's X now, but yeah. And if you are watching after this live, I mean, you can find it on Twitch for sure if you are watching from there on YouTube. But great to have you, Blaze. I'm very, very excited for this episode. A lot of things to talk about. So get this things going.
Sounds
Yeah,
great.
thanks for coming on, Blaze. And I didn't think you were able to come on such short notice. I just hit you up last week, and you want to give us a quick introduction about yourself? How did you get to Near? I know you're like one of the OGs of OGs. You've been here since like testnet days and stuff like that. How did you find Near? How did you come on to Near, and why Near? You know, all that good stuff. Tell us
Yeah.
how'd you stumble on Near?
Okay. So yeah, I got really interested in crypto in 2013 during the Bitcoin craze, and actually mined some Bitcoin on my laptop when you could actually do that back in the day. But then kind of got focused on some of my businesses I was running. Jumped back in 2017, Ethereum, kind of got very engaged, and then worked from there to learn what crypto really was at that stage. Learned about DeFi, degens, and then was really looking for a project to support. I knew that Ethereum was not scaling very well based on the transaction fees. Came across Google on a Google News article. I came across Near, and then jumped in from there. Just started kind of, learning everything. Jumped into the validator contest and became a validator on mainnet through that process. The initial stake wars too, and then I've been here since, really helping validators, building different D apps, and step forward to be champion of the NDC to get this community-led governance online. So that's really my journey here.
And you guys, you had Validator Open Shards, right? Is that
Yeah,
still online? Right?
yeah. Open Shards is still online, and we'd created a lot of validators had gotten together and created something called the Open Shard Alliance, which really was the first community-run network on Near. So we had a network we ran for GuildNet for a little over 2 years. That's finally kind of been shut down, and now the Open Shard Alliance has migrated more towards a validator community group, and they're still there, very active. So yeah, lots of validators were onboarded to mainnet through the Open Shard Alliance.
Awesome, awesome. And you want to tell us how you got into starting up Cheddarfy? You were one of the co-founders, right? How did that come to be?
Yeah, so I just was looking at the near landscape and knew that we needed D apps that people could use, right? And so in the early days, there was Berry Club, which was very cool. And most people, that was the first game on near. That's what we all used. And then that kind of just gave me ideas that, games in general seem to be something that the community likes. And the community really needed something fun to do where they could be rewarded for their loyalty. We know that our community, they're the ones that use all of these apps that everyone builds, right? So all these apps that have been built over time, it's been our grassroots community that's been out there supporting these apps on a day-to-day basis. So one of the things I knew was that there was a challenge with, opportunities for those with small wallet balances to actually participate, right? On Berry Club, what quickly took place was that you had to have a lot of near because every pixel you drew required near. And so it became a Wells game. So that kind of led me into understanding that there were bots in the system, that, there were Wells with a lot of near that would take over the board. And so we tried to bring structure there. But the idea really behind Cheddar was giving opportunity for the little guy, small wallet balances, for them to be able to do things, to be able to stack a little bit more. And so we forked Berry Club, called it Cheddar Draw, launched with that. Also launched some of the first single stake yield farms on Near, where you could stake a token, farm a token, and built several other games since then. Checkers, we're getting ready to launch Tic Tac Toe, probably here within the next week or so, and have a lot of other ideas on how to just, number one, keep users in active on chain, and then reward them with Cheddar for being active in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's dope. I remember when Cheddar started up, and I grabbed one of the NFTs and stuff. So it was cool to be able to farm, and you guys gave some pretty good rewards for those. For the what is it called? Is it called Chetty or Cheddar?
Yeah,
What is the token?
yeah. So Chetty's a mascot of Cheddar.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a mouse that kind of oversees the Cheddar world, if you will. So yeah, we created a limited edition 5,555 Chettys that you could buy with Cheddar or Near, which it was the first product launch really where you could buy something with a different fungible token other than Near. And then Chetty can be used as a power up throughout the Cheddar environment. You know, lots of vision there. The execution still a long road to get to that power up being highly valuable, right? But no, definitely have appreciated the support of the community on that small project.
Yeah, I think. Did anyone get those legendaries yet? I was looking for if I didn't see who got those.
I haven't seen, so we had five one of ones that someone could pull. And I think maybe one of them got pulled, but I haven't been back to check quite yet to see if someone was able to snag one of those one of ones. But we did do, the Engageathon through Shard Dog. One of the Chetty characters was part of the Engageathon. It was Chetty, doing an ollie basically on a skateboard. So that was kind of cool to see that people were minting that.
And I have to ask, did you get any inspiration from Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I would say in some regards, yes, but no, it's more about like cheddar, cheese, mouse, right? That's where it came from. And then so we wanted to develop the theme of this mascot named Chetty, who is kind of the representative of cheddar. So he'll speak on occasion and do things. And so he's a little character that looks like the community really identifies with. So.
I don't know. That's just the first thing, being a '90s kid. When I see that little mouse, I'm thinking Chuck E. Cheese, and
Yeah.
yeah. And then even now, like they kind of rebranded him, like not rebranded him, but like revamped the way it looks, and it's a little bit more cartoony. So when I saw that, I'm like, hey, this is like Chuck E. Cheese.
Interesting,
But,
yeah.
It
Nice.
is
But anyways,
stakeable through Jump DeFi, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've had some
So,
rewards out there. I'm not sure if they're still running. Last time I talked to Dave, I talked to him a couple days ago. He said maybe those rewards weren't running, but we still do have LP rewards running through Refinance. If you join the farm over there, Cheddar's out there and has some pretty good rewards on it. But it's really a community initiative. It's not about like the Cheddar price, or it's not about like uh, being able to swap a lot of cheddar, but it's kind of just a
yeah.
fun utility.
Yeah, I mean it's nice that it have utility. I myself, I mean, not because I'm part of Jump DeFi technically. I am a core team in Nico, but yeah, I do help a bit in Jump DeFi as well since ProvLab. But I am really interested in FTs that have some sort of utility behind it. Just taking rewards and stuff like this. It's just yes, it bring the art is nice. I'm not really an art guy. I mean, I don't really hold much NFT. I'm not an NFT degen, to be honest. I hold, but I like to sell. I always get wrecked. I never earn good money from NFTs, but this is just me. But I do hold some of the collection, to be honest. And one of them is the classic kangaroo, just because it has taking reward, as well freaky feline. And other NFT. So I think utility in NFT can bring some sort of value to people like me, who is not generally. I'm interested more in the tech of it, but not in the side of like art and stuff like this. I never bought an NFT for an art. I think it was one time or two times, maybe because I really like the character and it was like really cheap. So I was like, yeah, that's nice. I can buy that, you know. But man, I go to OpenSea, for example, and I see people buy like NFT for art, crazy prices. I was like, damn, does people do that? So I guess for people who have, you know, an eye for an art, might like it. You know, people are different. But I got criticized one time because I sold some of my NFT collection in Nira. It's like, guys, come on, man. It doesn't mean anything. I just want to sell, you know. It's not like I didn't believe in the project or anything. I just really didn't hold NFT. But it's like, oh man, you have to use Hexa wallet, and I was like, really? It's all in there, you know. They can see if I want to hold or sell. But yeah, I mean, if NFT have some utility behind it, I think it's really good to hold. You know, it give it some value for people like me to actually hold the NFT.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and I think that's something we're going to see in the next bull cycle is more utilities for NFTs moving beyond that PFP fad, right? I'm sure we'll
Mhm.
see the PFPs as well, but at some point you've got to be able to do something with this, asset that you have essentially. And maybe it's not qualified as an asset, but certainly something that you've collected and you want to put some utility to it. So it's going to be interesting, yeah, to see how that develops next bull cycle.
Yeah, most of those PFPs in that run, what was it, almost a couple of years ago? Not a lot of them are still around, and I kind of want to ask you, what was your one of your favorites? Like we all got them. Like we all got them. You'd be lying if you're in this ecosystem and you didn't grab one of those useless PFPs. Which one's your favorite?
I had a lot of favorites, but Near Knots was probably up there at the top for me,
Mm.
and I know that they was simply because they were like primary OG in the space, right? And they really did try to continue to evolve what they were doing. I mean, I see some comments now that they've rugged, and people feel that way, but unfortunately, it depends on what the nature of the project is. But
Yeah.
projects are going to dry up, but hopefully that one can be revitalized. It looks like there's a new team there. So just in time for the bull market, if we get Knots back online, that would be cool. I like the serum thing they did, right? How they airdrop serum last NearCon 2, and you could have redeemed that for a mutant. That was really cool. So that provided some good utility. So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite projects. But I had a lot of small ones that I thought they were doing, cool things. I invested, or not invested. I would say that I really participated in this ecosystem on NFTs, right? So, but one that was kind of cool was Tough Toucans. It was a small little project, but I liked the way that they kind of had the toucans. They auctioned them off instead, and
Mhm.
the auction prices continued to increase. I was hoping that was going to be something that was going to, make it out. So there's a lot of little different projects like that out there, right? We have Holistic was another one, right? The Pilgrims, and then you also had one that took, one that actually came on pretty good was the one that the name's escaping me off the top, but they had the houses that they sold, right? And it was real estate. You could collect
Newton.
the Nearton, yeah, yeah. So Nearton was really cool, and hopefully they'll come back and we'll see some more of that. Tinkers Union, obviously, those guys have continued to innovate that and create things. Once they created gear, right, and lots of things like that. So there was a lot of innovation taking place, but when the market, headed towards the bear, that's going to be one of the first things cut, right? It's not going to be DeFi necessarily, even though DeFi has had its experience, but something that was more on the speculative spectrum would go first. So, let's see how NFTs do this next bull.
Yeah. I want to touch in one point you talk about when you talk about Nirnat, and a lot of people consider them as a rock, but there is a lot of NFT projects that actually struggle really hard during the bear market, and this is something a lot of people doesn't understand. And it's mainly not because of the people just being like this, because because they are like this. It's about like not all the community view the point of the project from a other perspective. Most of the people in the community um, do view, or their perspective is how I want to make money, how I can flip my NFT, for example, or how this is what the community, and you can't blame them because we are in a crypto space. I mean, people want to make money, so that's most of the community want to do, but the same thing, man, for NFT projects, it was very, very difficult for them to keep up with the bear market. I mean, building something is not easy. It takes time and it takes money, And if the project is not consistently having funds, then you won't be able to have, for example, um, simple as moderator to mod the chat for you, so it's very, very difficult. And one of a lot of great NFT community were in, and there was also mmc was criticized a week ago, I think, about their NFT prices going all the way down to the floor, and the guys are doing nothing anymore. And at the peak of MMC, they have done incredible job in terms of community building. I mean, these guys were so active. Like their community Discord was the most active Discord in the Near protocol. Guys were doing events. They are doing a lot of variety of things to keep the community engaged while they are building their game. And yes, the floor price tanked. I myself was holding around 15, I think, to 16, and I minted at 10 near, and the floor tank I think to like 1.5 near or 2 near, and they were getting bashed.
Damn, that
I see
far.
one of the tweet. Yeah, yeah. I saw one of the tweet was like, "Where is the people who are shilling the project?" I mean, hey man, listen. These guys done incredible job before they went to like a point where they just can't keep up anymore because of the market. The funding is just not there, and you guys need to understand this. That doesn't mean they rug. They just couldn't keep up with this market changes. We have been in the bear market for so long, so the guys doesn't understand this. I mean, I myself, I think, or Billy, I can jump in a Discord and moderate and help it just because I want to able to contribute to the ecosystem. But this is only maybe 1 to 10, not even 10. I mean, 1% of the community on near. We have a lot of great people that are willing to work for free to contribute. But other community will like, oh no, this project is rugging. This project, no. There's a lot of technicality. The thing that community doesn't understand, and it doesn't mean if someone was talking good about this project and the project couldn't keep up, that's mean they are bad or the project is rugging, and that's very, very important to understand within the near community. So shout out to mmc. If they, I don't know if they are still around or not, to be honest. I haven't talked to them for so long, but they had great guys. They were doing incredible job. I know they have hard time um afterward with the market condition and everything, but I hope the NFT community builds on Near. I mean, I'm not an NFT degen, but I mean Near in terms of NFT share in the market. Like, I mean, the whole NFT share in the market is not like what it used to be 2 years or 3 years ago. That was flying off the chart. Now we are not like ETH in terms of ETH or Polygon when it's come to NFT community and activity and how people are like degen, NFT degen, and near it's kind of are more into tech, and that's what I realized with the community. We have a lot of people are more into tech, more into building, and yeah, I hope I saw the last time as well a proposal for the NFT work group. I think they passed a proposal. I don't know if it's got approved or no for the NDC. So they want to be like an official DAO with the NDC under the NDC. So maybe they can help toward this, and that also goes for gaming because as well, you can instant like in a way NFT and gaming work very well together. So NFT gaming on near, this is what I really want to see, trying to reach more into community and audience than just builders, or contributors, in this way. I mean, it's nice to have many of them, but we also need the community backup to like level up our game in the within the crypto or Web3 space, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, the NFT work group, it doesn't look like they got approved the first go around, so they're waiting on some feedback and going to incorporate that and then go again. But yeah, I do believe that NFTs are something that we should continue to experiment with on Near. So finding out what that balance of funding is, and as you were alluding to, keeping the lights on for an NFT, especially a PFP project, even if you are developing tech, right, and you're trying to innovate, it's very time, it costs you in time and expense,
Mhm.
and you got to pay folks. So there has to be some level of funding there available. So that is why a lot of the projects just have kind of went inactive, because there's just the grants have been off for some time. But that's what we're working on through NDC, is to get this grant process moved over to the community. And this thing is really gearing up to go live here really soon. I think they approved 9 new funding nodes to distribute funding out of NDC V1. There will probably be more approved, but we're getting to that point where it's really exciting, because it does look like we're just at the door of funding getting turned on again for the near
Mhm.
ecosystem, for the grassroots community.
Yeah, agree. And I think the gaming DAO was approved. I think I saw the report. So this
Yeah.
is good. Okay, because I mean, me and Billy, the whole thing now is created for gaming. We want to jump live, we want to play game, we want to try game, but at the same time, we did get some support from the marketing DAO to initially fund this podcast, and try to make it. Work. But the thing is, we lack gaming project in the near protocol. I think there was AI Land, which game I really really liked. It's actually really good. So yeah, I hope with this DAO, managing to get their fund and support from the NDC, then they can, shift the focus into this specific gaming. Will shift it into gaming. NFT work group will shift and start focusing on building NFT community, because whether you like it or not, gaming and NFT, these two community have huge community. Like the gaming community itself is pretty big, and NFT as well is pretty big. And everyone will buy. I mean, I said it to myself, I'm not NFT DJing, but I still hold like 30, 40 NFT in my wallet. I don't know
Yeah,
what
you
I
are.
want to do with them. I just just listen.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
are.
I'm not.
Just a little bit. But
Yes, a
yeah,
little bit. Yeah.
A Island and Woda, World of the Abyss, have both
Time
teased a
Breacher.
new trailer. Huh?
Time Breacher, was it in here?
Woda, World of the
What?
Abyss.
Okay. Ah,
It's
word.
like a
Okay. Yeah.
Diablo, a mobile Diablo game. They've been
Yeah.
building for a while, and they were funded through Human Guild way back when. Them and A Island, the one you just mentioned, they just
Yeah.
teased a new trailer. So hopefully they're gonna start ramping up things again. Because when I hit them up a few months ago, I think they were saying something like we're pulling back a little, we're slowing down development, this and that. I'm like, what? Like, why? Like, but we just kind of the same thing with the PFPs. Like,
Yeah.
if they're not getting funding, if everything's slow and this and that, they're just slowing things down. It's everyone's hurting right now. I guess that's just the way it goes.
Well, the good
Um,
thing, the market is recovering. So let's see all the projects that have been building in the bear
right.
market. I mean, this is the best feeling ever, especially for project we're struggling so hard in the bear market to make it, and they can make it in when the market is good. Then this is gonna be actually a really really good, and that's where you can see the real builders coming up, and the value they can bring to the community. So
A
that's
lot of
what I'm
people,
actually arranged that for.
a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in gaming and Web3 is like it's starting to ramp up, but like it's kind of starting off with like tokens and degen shit, but at the same time, that's kind of how what sparks things. People start making money, and then when people start minting stuff in whitelist and everything starts getting hyped up, that's when the builder's going to come out and say, "Hey, we've been stealth building for so long, we never left, and this is what we built. Are you ready?" And then that's why I'm saying Woda. Um, A Island, and recently Crystals of Naramunes put up their sign up, and Crystals of Naramunes looks really great, and they've been building for a long time. Even Ilya and I think Marcus from the foundation retweeted what they're building, so everyone's excited for that stuff. So I'm excited for gaming on Near. It's pretty nascent for gaming. Not a lot of transactions. Nothing was really live. It seemed that way, and it seemed that there was a lot of teams building. And I was a moderator for Metamon for a long time, and even them, it's just quiet. It's just we don't know where are they at. Where's the founders? Are they stealth building? We haven't heard anything. And even one of the developers was in the Gen chat the other day, saying I haven't spoken to the founder myself, and he's the developer of the game, like the main one. So it's just like, are they going to come
Yeah.
back? What's going on? And to see at least a handful of these games saying something and showing updates recently, and then the gaming DAO now getting approved for funding, I hope they bring more in, and it gets me excited for gaming because I mentioned in the Shitsu chat, they said, "What's Boneyard up to?" And I'm like, "Well, it's kind of hard for us to get funding as Boneyard Gaming. Anyway, I don't mind covering anything Near because we I've been mainly involved in Near over any other chain, so I've been here for a while, so I don't mind it. But at the same time, I can't really call it Boneyard Gaming if there isn't really any gaming on Near. So I'm just like, hey, I'm running out of things to cover for gaming, and I have to go speak to other chains. I had Shrapnel on recently. We spoke to Golden Tides. They're on like AVAX and Polygon, and it's all good because I'm connecting them to Mark Me, and they're having BD chats about integrating Near into their game. So it's not a bad thing. I go speak to other chains because we're giving them that Near option. But I would really love for a Near game, like someone launching and using Near as their
You know
primary
what?
tech
Sorry, do you know what will like spark it? I mean, Axie Infinity had
money.
2.5 to 2.7 million active user plays.
It's money.
This game
People are making money.
brought
That's what I'm
so much.
saying.
Yes,
That degen
people.
shit, it will spark it.
Yes, they brought so many users to crypto. I mean, Philippine itself. I know people quit their daily job to play Axie Infinity. I'm not capping here. Okay, this is
Yeah.
like I saw it happening, and I myself invested in Axie Infinity. I put around like 2,000, and I made like 2 ETH in Axie Infinity back then. I lost it all, of course, afterward, but I made a lot of money, and I was paying I was paying gas fee like $80 $70 for a gas fee just to get my
And it was
token out,
normal.
yeah, before the run thing and everything, and it was completely okay because you were making money. But imagine with the technology we have in Near, the fast transaction speed, security, plus the dapps that building on Near, like for example Shardog, create a game, launch your NFT through Shardog, new player, no problem, claim mint it through Shardog, boom, you have wallet, boom, play the game. Simple as this, one, step two, step three, easy
Yeah.
step. Before I bought my before I mean I have people come to my house paying me money to buy my Axie at like couple hundreds more just because they didn't know how to deposit money in crypto.
Oh
Now
yeah,
imagine what we can do with the tech we have in Air Protocol, right?
absolutely. It is exciting. Hopefully, we see some new games launching as that funding gets re-enabled, right? And we see that
Mhm.
reinvigorated. It'll be good to see also, some games on Boss. So let's see what we can get done up there, even if they're little fun ones. I know that chess was recently launched and 3D checkers, I believe, or 3D chess.
Yeah, Marma J as well.
Yeah, and then there's Marma J
Mhm.
out there still working. So yeah, for sure, it's exciting.
Yeah, I
Indeed.
saw something on Boss recently. It was just, man, what was it? I don't remember. I was searching around. I think it's on Aurora. Oh, actually, the burrito battle. I don't know if you guys seen that before. They're like little donkeys. So Spanish burrito means a little donkey. A
Mm.
burro. A burro is donkey. So a burrito is a little donkey. So burrito battle was supposed to be like, I want to say like a Pokemon type game. Your donkey's gonna fight another donkey, and there were different colors and stuff like that. So I don't think it's called burrito battle anymore. It was like, I think they're making like a Tamagotchi game now, and it's on the
Mhm.
boss. And I gotta find it. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool to drop a link to that. I know that Mr. Brown, it wasn't on Boss, but they created
Oh yeah,
that game. That was pretty cool too. So I think there's still things going on, right? They're on a smaller scale, but it's good to see those. And you're right, getting focus on those and getting more visibility to these games that are on Near.
Mhm.
It's probably an important thing to do on Boss, right? To get a directory of the games going. That would be cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I seen
Okay.
something like pipe
Speaking,
flare.
what's that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know,
I
pipe
was,
flare?
I was, I wanted to shift away from the topic for a bit since we talk about funding and project
Okay.
funding. I wanted to talk a little bit about the NDC, and I want to start first with like, let's go back a little bit, and ask you one question. I know you talk a lot about this one, but the funding was originally proposed to be 6 months, right? And then you guys decided to shift it to 3 months. Now, since every proposal need to pass by the House of Merit, then the Council of Advisor can veto it or not, then goes to the voting body. Okay, so there was couple. I think the funding, which is the one for 3 months, which good morning, guys. Yeah, which we voted on. This one I think is already passed, but then they come another proposal in the voting body, which you guys had a lot of opinion about actually in the near ecosystem. But before we dive deep into this, okay, I would just want to ask a simple question: is what is voting body? Who the people are considered as the voting body? And why some of the people are eligible to vote in the voting body and some people are not.
Yeah, so just kind of to iron it out in terms of funding, the way that it works is that, the community is going to put forward a proposal to one of the approved funding nodes to receive funding. Then that funding node is going to gather up all the proposals for their vertical gaming, for instance, and submit those to the House of Merit. The House of Merit needs to approve then that budget. The Council of Advisors has the ability to veto that budget if it's not in alignment with NEAR. But then that budget does not go to the voting body. The voting body has elected Congress to work on their behalf. So then it goes to the trustees to have issuance of funds. So that would be the next step. So
Mhm.
actually, it doesn't have to, every vote of the budget doesn't need to go to the voting body. Just the original 3 million budget was
Yeah, yeah,
approved by them. Now Congress can operate on that budget. In terms of the voting body who can be a member, right now it's designated as any human on NEAR. So we created a proof of humanity protocol called I Am Human. And
yeah,
if you go and you do a face verification and you're identified as a unique human with your NEAR wallet, then you have the ability to vote. Now, Congress is probably going to amend that because it's pretty open ended, right, at this stage.
yeah,
But normally, when you start something, you want to make it wide open so that anyone can join. And then after that, you kind of make it more restricted. That's kind of what we're used to. So you can expect that criteria to change. But if you are not a human on NEAR right now, it's a great time to go over to I am human, I-am-human.app
mhm.
and, become a member of the voting body before that window closes.
Yeah.
When is that
Well,
plan to close?
So there's not a timeline specified. It's until Congress comes up with new criteria of what a voting body member is, which I know is one of the things on the agenda. There's many things to do, but that's one of many.
okay.
And how many
So,
do we have? Like 3,000 something? Sorry, Sus.
Yeah,
no,
right.
no problem. Keep going.
Yeah, right now we're I think over 4,000, and people are continuing to register. So I think we're at like 4,050 or 60. There is a cool little widget that keeps track of that. The number of humans on NEAR. So we could always share that out too. But yeah, people are still onboarding.
That's almost the double compared to what we had before the voting on the NDC, right?
I think we had like
Three.
3,995 or something like that
Okay,
before
I
voting
thought, yeah,
started. So maybe only another 50 or
couple hundred.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys plan to push it even, to push it hard as you guys we pushed it before? I mean, before we wanted everyone to vote in the human body because we wanted to reach a cap, which I think was 3,000 of
Yeah.
registered the human. I really forgot the number, but now since we reached this, do we need still consider the I am a human verification is something that the NDC wanna keep going forward with? Because for me, to be honest, I don't see it as the best way to track a proof of humanity. I mean, I
A
believe
body.
that interaction with dApps, for example, the number of new contracts signed, or the number of dApps that you have interacted with, how many contracts you signed within in near protocol, will be a better, proof for humanity, than, just a picture, simple picture.
Yeah, so the reality is that it's going to be an interesting conversation because doing transactions, interacting with contracts, even trading, being in an LP, being in a ref farm, none of those things actually make you human. As a matter of fact,
Because the bot, yeah.
we know that there's most of our transactions, right, that are being automated are through bots. So those aren't things that make you human. Now, if you take a human that you know is identified, right, and then you
Mm.
add that reputation to them, then they become more qualifiable. But just to start with that reputation, that's primarily on chain, we have no way to know if that's a human. We have no way to know how many wallets one human has, right? And matter of fact, I know that I have 50 or 100 wallets easy that I use, right, for different
Mhm.
things. So sometimes you just want to segment what you're doing and keep one to do automated contracts, keep another one for this or that, keep a backup. So there's lots of things like that. So when we looked at, voting, obviously the default in Web3 is stake weighted. So stake your near and vote. But we know that, the community at large, the people actually using all the apps across near, they don't have much near, right? And so that was going to really disenfranchise them. And even in this last election, we saw that of all of those accounts that we had registered for I Am Human, most of them had less than one near, and most of them did not vote. So
Yeah.
creating these opportunities for people to actually earn near, that's something that's going to be, interesting. And hopefully we can get done this next year so that by next election, people will have more near in their wallets. And when stake weighted voting's added as part of that reputation, they'll be able to vote.
Yeah, I mean, I had a talk, a very long talk, me and Nono, in the Nick Morning Show with AVB about this one, and we were trying to brainstorm the best idea. And I agree with you. Transaction can be botted very very easy, but some sort of filtering that, enables, try to eliminate that, will be good. But the thing is, now we go back about people who are not comfortable to KYC themselves in terms of picture in the wallet, and then we go about the bond token, as you mentioned, and then we will talk about, and I mentioned it to AVB. I mean, man, a lot of the community, as you said, doesn't have more than one near, like, you are targeting a specific person. Where everybody had a different, opinion back then, that if you don't have a tree near, I really forget it anyway. That's funny one. But anyway, now I think there is a lot of way to earn tokens in the near ecosystem. uh, Platforms like Heroes Build as well utilize bounties, where you can actually, anyone can go and claim. There's so many easy bounty. Boneyard created one for $25 before, and Nico, we created one as well in the Nico Morning Show. We created one in Gem DeFi, and Marma J created one as well. There is a lot of bounty there that you can go and claim that $1-2 you are missing, and eventually start building up your wallet. But yeah, it's very tough, a long topic, to be honest. You're gonna like brainstorm with 250 people, and we will never agree to the best way. I think all the way have negative and positive approach to it. Yeah, and there is no right answer for it. But for me, I think some sort of filter system that can be applied with as well, verification, maybe, yes, but that's as well. A lot of people don't just wanna. I mean, this is crypto, man. A lot of people. I'm comfortable to dox myself. I even, the last time someone said, "Hey, Susie, put your real name in the MDAO proposal." I was like, yeah, so said one simple search in Google and I find your Facebook, and I'm looking at your kid's picture and your picture. So what? I have nothing to hide. I mean, I'm pretty dogs. It doesn't matter for me. So, but not everyone have the same mentality. Not all the people were like, I'm comfortable to be doxed. So, yeah, a lot of things to talk about. But
I think it's
that's
the
bring me.
evolving.
Yeah, that's bring me to the main question. Sorry, Billy, I take a lot of time, but
Yeah.
I know Billy have some question, but I'll give it to you in a bit. Billy, I'm trying to share screen here, and this is what I want to talk about. So this is the open letter that you guys, published, which goes with the um, what was it? The voting body of the last proposal. I think I don't know if we can call it
Yes.
proposal of the voting body to restructure a lot of things, and that's lowering down the time frame. I think for the Council of Advisor approval, lowering down the time frame of the House of Merit. There was a lot of implementation was requested, and I think it generally had a majority vote yes on it. To be honest, I voted yes, but after I read the letters, after I read the opinion of AVB and other member opinion, I realized okay, there is a strong point there I did not think of before I voted. So, do you want to walk us through this? How that voting body proposals structured? Who did it? Who managed it, and how did it just went there in the form? Can anyone just create something and publish it there? And that's the main question. I mean,
Yeah.
does anyone can create a proposal in the voting body, section, and here we go, guys? Doesn't go to like filtering system or double check before it posts?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So basically, the voting body can't put forward a proposal to make changes to governance. There's a couple ways that you can do that. The first one is to create a draft. So if you create a draft proposal, it's 1 year, and then you have to go get another member of Congress to support that proposal via Astra plus plus. And once you do that, then it becomes an official proposal. The second one is that Congress members can also put up proposals for governance changes that they can get other Congress members support. But then there's a fast track, and that's what was used in this case. You can create a fast track proposal to put a vote to the voting body, and the bond for that fast track proposal right now is 300 near. So a community member put up 300 near to make this proposal move forward fast. And that's basically the direction what was taken. So it's cool because it's our first proposal, and it's great to see that the community is active and they're engaged and they want to, help make sure that NDC moves fast and funding gets deployed. But the Council of Advisors, reviewed the proposal, and you could see there's a lot of discourse on it and quite notable community members commenting that it wasn't very well formed. So the Council of Advisors thought it warranted a response, and this letter is a response to the community on that proposal that just kind of outlines that, hey, it's great the community wants to participate in, making governance a reality, but there's some considerations to be made, and that is that if we speed up the time of these, it's likely that those timelines would not be adhered to anyway because it takes time to review proposals, and it might create greater risk, even more slowdowns and more frustration than the current process. And we just kind of outlined here that, funding is not even online right now. So the proposal is a little bit premature to say the system's broken when the system hasn't even been tested yet. And so really this letter is just outlining to the community that if somebody's going to put up even a fast track proposal and say, hey, this proposal is on behalf of the community, but the community never saw the proposal, never commented on it prior to going to a vote, and the houses never saw the proposal, then it probably is not representative of what the community really wants. So it was kind of just some guidance here on make sure that you put it up for public comment before you create a vote. Make sure that you allow governance to work before trying to change it because we haven't even seen it fully work yet. And then really talking about let's kind of measure how this governance is working, gather some data first before we try to make sweeping changes. And then, a recommendation that any changes should really be for the next Congress because Congress is only 6 months long. So it's going to move very quick. So that's kind of what the letter outlines here. Now, this proposal is actually linked right there, voting body proposal 2, is open until tomorrow. So if you click on that, proposal, you should see that there's a timer on
Yeah.
it, and the voting.
Let me
Yeah.
switch the share screen to it. Yeah.
So the voting body still has time to vote on this, but the letter basically said that for many different reasons outlined there, this proposal is not valid,
Yeah.
essentially. But yeah, if you scroll up there, does it show us a timer? Or yeah, so
Yeah. It should
yeah.
be 1 day and 13 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so you got 1 day and 13 minutes for the community to vote. If you scroll down there, you
Yeah.
can see that quite a few members have voted to approve it. Quite a few have voted to reject, and there's 24
Yeah.
comments. So this needs 219 votes to pass. So it still needs a number of votes there. But we wanted to make a comment on it from the council advisors because it's really not a valid proposal, not very well structured or written, and
Yeah.
it tries to make a lot of things pass in one proposal where they should be separated.
Okay. So, do you mean 200? How many it need to pass? 200.
219, yeah. And if you refresh that screen, I think actually a little bit more have voted than what you were showing 1 moment ago. But if you hit refresh, maybe it'll update the count below. But
Yeah.
I think 130 folks have voted. I could look at it here on my screen. But
I'll refresh it here.
if we scroll down there, how many does it
Yeah,
say?
141.
So
So
one,
what happened if we got the vote, the 219? Will it pass even though you guys are against it?
yeah, so it will pass, and Congress has been discussing that if this does pass, what's going to be our next steps. And both the House of Merit and Council Advisors are generally aligned that we see a lot of challenges with this proposal. So we would have to, take this under consideration, discuss it in Congress, and find out what the best path is forward for the community without putting things at risk and removing safeguards and processes that we don't want to implement, processes that won't render a good result and may cause more challenges. So that's what Congress would do next is begin to discuss it internally, and HOM would come up with a proposal on how to actually implement this.
Okay. Billy, I'm gonna give the mic to you. I don't know if Billy. Okay. I need to step away for like 5 minutes. I think I woke up one of my kids.
Oh,
I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys.
Sure, no problem. Yes, I did want to ask about getting V1 online, the struggles that you've had, you seem calm, cool, and collective about this the entire time, and I in the OG chat it's bumping. Sometimes I don't check it for a couple of days, and there's thousands of messages, and there's a lot of people going off. And can you? How do you keep your cool, man? Like I like your responses most of the time. I think like 99% of the time you just have good responses to all these people, and some of the naysayers, or I would say like anti NDC, or maybe they're not anti NDC, but they're not with what's been going on, or the direction it's going. They don't like it. So how do you keep your cool? Like there's a lot of I mean I got a little frustrated with some people there. Like they're just
yeah,
hard
it's
to work with.
yeah, it's a challenge. One of the biggest challenges we have before us with trying to run governance in a decentralized ecosystem is just that. How do you educate a decentralized ecosystem? We have different languages, cultures, backgrounds, levels of training and culture and corporate engagement, right? Many folks have not even worked in a corporate environment. The governance framework, while very simple, is also very complex. A lot of people don't really care for that 100%, but really it starts with listening. So what I do a lot of times in those chats is just kind of let people jam, and see what they're saying and see what others are saying, and then do something what I call curation, and that's just to kind of reflect on it and try to come up with the best possible outcome. But generally in the chat, what's going on is just misunderstanding. Folks don't know the governance framework. They've not fully read it or internalized it. So, a lot of times we're seeing issues or things brought up that are really non-issues and just need a little bit more clarity. I think the other thing is that folks are a little bit frustrated because, it's very complex. They want more process, they want more procedure, but there's a reason that we have to be very careful about making a lot of rules fast. And that's because it's going to create gatekeeping. It's going to create these things that are going to limit what we can do instead of accelerate what we want to do. So, not focusing on rules and focusing on what we're here to do is the most important thing. And then add guidelines where we think they need to be added. So I think what we call that is storming. And really what's happening is people are being educated through that process. They're gaining understanding, they're internalizing what it means to them. And that's just going to be an ongoing challenge in a decentralized ecosystem. And we know that our community is full of, leaders and really type A people. So there's always going to be some level of conflict. And that's what we talking about on this session today is culture, right? Let's breed a culture that's centered on collaboration, inclusivity, innovation. That's the culture we want. We don't want a toxic culture where we attack each other. We're constantly fighting. We desire to be right instead of moving forward together, right? We've got to avoid those things and really begin to work on improving the way that we interact with one another, have patience, give each other grace. That's really what the direction we need to head. And if we can do that, I think we'll see a lot of that type of chatter calm down a little bit. And I think as people understand more, we'll also see chatter calm down. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's decentralization is messy, right? We've got people from all around the world with different opinions, and we got to collectively move forward together somehow.
Yeah, I think I've seen I want to say Solana or Ethereum come out of a lot of people once that OG chat was sparking off. You know what I mean? Because that's what we were saying in the beginning is Near is different. You know what I mean? Near is not like that, but we all came from that. We were literally born on Ethereum or Solana, and then or maybe somewhere else, but mainly that's the narrative over there. It's just everyone's at each other's throats instead of collaborative projects. It's more as like I'm better than you.
Yeah.
So, and it's been like that, but until recently with that OG chat, I think people were kind of getting at each other's throats. Like, where have you been? Why are you not? Because at first I was just like, hey, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And then someone kind of went to the jugular and was like, well, where have you been? You're not active. I'm like, I'm not active. I was like, excuse me, you're like in Asia and we're on opposite time zones. So how do you know if I'm active or not? Just because you haven't seen me or you don't follow me on X, like you don't see what I do. You don't watch my podcast. You don't come to my Twitter Spaces. I mean, I understand where he's coming from at the same time, but why would you go straight to that conclusion? Like, oh, you're not active, and I'm just like, I've
Yeah.
been around for a couple of years. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm
I
very
think
active.
that I think it goes to the lineage of degens. That's kind of the culture that really launched Web3 was that on Ethereum. If you were there in 2017, that's what launched the culture. That's what launched the growth was the degen movement, right? Aping around and it can be a very toxic culture, and so I think that that's kind of legacy that we're bringing into Web3, but as we continue to move forward, we have to develop new cultures and new culture norms. That the day of the degen is actually probably beginning to fade, right? That part of Web3 is coming to a close, and now we're looking for sustainability, and we're looking for how we actually make this thing work and make it so that people can work full time in Web3 and not have to be worried about being let go tomorrow, right? Because the market crashes. So bringing that stability in, the only way you can do that is to, you know, make sure that these decentralized societies have some level of guidance around them. We can't like be wild, wild west anarchy out here. We're going to have structure if we want to actually be successful. And I think that's kind of where we're moving to. And hopefully that's what we accomplish in NDC that's not been accomplished in Web3 as of yet.
Yeah, what I wanted to bring up as well, because how I bumped heads with somebody, and I've noticed like you, AVB, and a few others, kind of bump heads or disagree, I would say. Um, how I know, like what you said a little bit earlier, but man, it's just interesting to see how you would deal with them. Like they're a thorn in your side. They have to be. If I was in your position, I would probably not be in your position anymore because of those people. They just keep coming at you, and it's just like how you have mentioned before. As I'm going to especially keep on bringing up AVB here is when he says something, he wants change, but he doesn't come up with a solution sometimes, or I think most of the time. I mean, a lot of times he does, and he's written a lot of good documentation on what needs to be done. But sometimes it's just noise, and I think that, I mean, I agree with him a lot of the times, but at the same time, sometimes it can go both ways. And how you popped up and said one time, hey, if you're not going to come up with some type of solution or at least like some type of direction on where we need to go from, instead of saying, hey, this is what's wrong. I don't like this. I don't like this, kind of anti NDC stuff, like, or disagreeing with what's going on, instead of saying, hey, this is what we should be doing, or hey, can we come up with something to combat this because this is wrong, or this is, I don't agree with this, or something like that, um, I don't see how
Yeah.
you do that, because me being me, I'm a little bit, outspoken, and I could be a hothead sometimes, and I would just tell them like, hey, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like I can't see how you could be so calm, cool, collective about a lot of these things, and some of these people.
The
It
most
takes.
important thing is that, unity is how we're going to win, right? And so, yeah, I have plenty of, snarky comments that I could certainly say about anything. I have a very quick wit. I could easily, go out there and combat anyone, but that's not really the objective. We have to realize, what are we here working for? What are we working toward? And that's not it. We don't want to waste our time in those endless conversations, but we do want to breed a culture where people come up with solutions, they get support from other community members, and we move forward. And, I think the great thing is that as AVB became a Congress member, he made a very valid statement. He said, the first week was for complaining about everything that you did wrong and how it sucks. But moving forward, if you're not actively out here trying to fix this, if you're not actively out here, making things better, now this is in our, now we have the power to make change. And you can see that he's doing that. He's really been working hard to write a lot of fair policies and procedures for the NDC that do exactly what you talked about, and talk about the issues that we've had as a community, as a culture, stating things like, if you don't come with constructive feedback, then you need to be careful and limit what you say, because we really just need to move forward at this stage, right? So we can get caught in all this fighting. And that's what I just thought about last night. Again, I was just telling myself that, it'd be real easy to get caught in the chaos and, start, putting up snide comments towards a lot of other people, or putting people in their place. We can all do that. We can all spend our energy and time on that. But how does that get us where we want to be? And where we want to be is a thriving, successful ecosystem where people can come and contribute, be rewarded, and we have good sustainability for the ecosystem, right? That's where we want to be. Well, we got to look at what's going to get there. And all this fighting is not going to get us there, right? That's only going to detract, demotivate. It's going to help us lose community members. So that's why I work hard not to engage, although occasionally I slip up myself and get into a little quarrel out there, right? But it's really avoiding that at all costs is what's important.
You're stronger if you work with your enemy. You know what I mean? You can't, if you were to attack each other, it's just going to deteriorate, both parties. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
something I saw recently that I didn't completely really understand that I wanted to ask you about was, where is it at? The code of conduct, how that got changed or something like that. So Odin and AVB was talking about it, and the code of conduct was changed, and it's just how do you go? Well, I wouldn't say you necessarily, but being from Council of Advisors, your opinion on it of how that's been changed, and then it shows a couple of people on there who changed it. So, how does the NDC go forward with what's been going on? Or can you explain it better to me because I didn't look into it. I didn't I just seen
Yeah.
what was going on and what
Yeah.
was been
So,
posted.
one of the things I think that's important for everyone to understand, and, I got called out for it, is that we want Congress members to work across houses to draft policy, to give input into processes and procedures. We want this to be collaborative. We don't want to say, oh, you're in the Transparency Commission, so therefore no one else can assist from other houses and contribute to a document, right? So I'd say let's start there. So Congress should be a place where Congress members work together to form process, procedures, policies that are then voted on. And once they're voted on, then they're enacted, right? So in the case of what happened with that code of conduct, it was updated and it was published, but it was never put up for public discourse. The community gave no feedback. It wasn't actually put to a vote in the Transparency Commission, right? So there was a lack of process, a lack of due diligence on making those changes. And so the primary thing is it's just getting people up to speed on how governance works, right? And making sure that the process is followed. So there have been mistakes occurring, right? But what we don't want to do is blow up the world and say, "Oh, here's a mistake. Let's just burn everything down." No, we want to say, "Here's a mistake. As long as we're all willing to admit it was a mistake and course correct, that's what's more important than anything else." So, I think that we just got to continue to work with one another, and removing Congress members from Congress and going through this prosecutory process. That's not really what NDC is designed to do. You can only be removed at the last resort if something extremely, nefarious is going on, and it's been proven through a community report filing and an investigation. So, that's really what transpired. Now, the language in there, one of the things that happened with the update to the code of conduct is we started to interfere or entrench on freedom of speech. And that's something we need to make sure that we don't do. As a decentralized Web3 ecosystem, you cannot tell the community they can't have freedom of speech. You can't tell the community what to do in many cases. What we can have is guidelines that say if you're operating in the NDC and you're in these specific areas, there's more of a code of conduct here. But if you're in the public square, you can't, really enforce things on folks that are on a Twitter AMA or that are posting on Near Social. I mean, these public forums are public forums for a reason. So it's just a matter of coming to a balance there. Some of the language in there has encroached upon freedom of speech. It's encroached upon, trying to police the community, and that's just not something we can do. And we certainly can't do that without community approval and community discourse. So that policy needs to be put back up for community feedback, and then it needs to be voted in officially. And then the Medium article that was published prematurely does need to be updated with whatever that final outcome is.
Yeah, I agree. I feel people should say what they want to say. I think that the freedom of speech is important, but I just think that if you're a Congress member, I feel that you shouldn't be having to tiptoe on thin ice because you're a Congress member. If you're a
Correct.
Congress member, you should be open to say what you want to say. And I think some of them just stay quiet or don't vote because they feel that the community will backlash on, or maybe other Congress members or other KOLs or anyone in the ecosystem would say, like, I disagree with you. I don't like you anymore. Da, 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 da. They feel like, it's iffy. Like, you don't want to sit there and do something and then people don't like you for it, or you get called out for it later on. And people have disagreed with the voting process as well, saying, oh, hey, I voted for this person. And then people are posting, this person, this wallet, BillyBones.near said, is for this. Now go against this guy and attack the Boneyard because that's him and da 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 da. or something happened with the Nico Morning Show. Same thing. They were going live on TikTok, doing a podcast like we are now, and someone went and reported them. So like, it's something like that. Like you can go and attack somebody somehow because of what they believe in, and you disagree with them. So I think you should be able to say what you want to say, but at the same time, you're now fearing for some people they need the money. It's, I think, the remuneration that they get for being in Congress or whatever. They're afraid that they'll lose that. So I think it's not perfect yet, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's questionable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the gist is it's about incentive alignment. And, folks need to have freedom of speech. Congress members need to be able to say what they want. If Odin doesn't approve of a proposal and he wants to rally the community to say vote against it, that is 100% his right in this democratic process
Mhm.
that we've created. And we don't want to infringe upon that, right? We cannot infringe upon the community. NDC is not here to police the community. It's to provide funding to grow and sustain the community. That's it, right? And the whole reason the TC was created was we know corruption's an issue in Web3. So really the TC is there only to remove corrupt Congress members, right? Misconduct, gross negligence, gross misconduct. That's what their purpose is. It's not there to police the community, right? Now, we do need to have some safe zones. Like if you're in a work group and they're trying to collaborate to make a better change there, and someone comes out there and starts bashing the whole thing, they should be removed, right? I mean, so,
Yeah.
I think practical guidelines are good. But then if that person wanted to go to Near Social and complain or go to Community Voice and complain, all of those places are public forums. That's not that innovation and collaboration zone. So I'm hoping that, the TC and Congress will come up with more practical guidelines. It's not like we can go out and just say you can't say anything on AMA on a public forum. You should be able to say what you want out there. But when it comes to, work groups or work zones, there's probably going to be a little bit more of a conduct, a code of conduct there.
Right. Yeah, because I seen something happen. What is it, Luminifty post? His janitor
Yeah,
medium post or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So it had that the code of conduct got changed like right after that. So I was just wondering, like, did that get, is that linked to that, or I think him and is it Dacha, they were kind of bumping heads a little bit, and recently I guess he was going for the operations lead and stuff like that. So do you think that that's kind of linked together? Or they're just trying to shush him up, or kind of push him away, sort of like in
No,
in a way that they
You,
can?
no, I
wait.
don't think that's. I don't. Go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, sorry. Wasn't it? I wanted to comment because this is like an important thing, but wasn't it there was someone who added on the code of conduct? I think FAB tweeted about this one. I was
Yeah,
reading about it, and it's originally was not there. He says, and he showed two picture of the Google Docs where the all adds on was not there. So that's bring a question: how did that happen? I mean.
that's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But like, that's the whole point, right? I don't know. I don't know. Like, do you think it was intentionally altered, like intentionally, just as Billy said, because of that thing?
No, I think and this is my opinion. Let me state that I'm not part of the TC. I'm not doing investigations, but based on just what I've observed, the question I think that change was really trying to address is the bashing of Congress members. One of the things that we've seen the community do is completely trash the GWG, trash me. Now they're trashing Congress. What protections, if any, are afforded for Congress members to not come to work every day and get assaulted by the broader community because they're dissatisfied that things aren't moving fast enough or they want something their way, right? And so I think that language was probably drafted in there to put a stop to some of that, but it's too far, right? The language went too far. It's not the way we want to operate. But I think it raised a good question, and that's what we always must look at. Okay, what were they trying to do, and what now should the outcome be, even though that was a mistake that shouldn't have occurred. What should we do now to fix that, right? And I think it's a good question for the community to think about. It's like, what kind of conduct should the community have towards Congress, where these are elected representatives by the people, right? You can't say you can't go out there and bash them, because that's a freedom of speech issue. But what you can say is, how should we expect the community to interact with Congress, and what level of, professionalism do we want to have in our culture, right? How do we want to treat each other in our culture? That's the bigger question.
I mean, there is a fine line between, as we said it, criticism and just being toxic and being negative in general. So I think people have the right to base their opinion, but in a way to um, fix something or reach a solution, other than making things worse and worse and just get nowhere. Because if this one, as you said, this one will fight with this one, you talk like this about me, I talk like this about you, then we will be stuck on what you did to me, what I did to you, and we will forget the work that have to be done to fix
Yeah.
this one.
I think the tough area where it gets into, and this is something we've not really addressed in our culture and our ecosystem, is when does it cross the line? When does it become harassment? When does it become bullying, right? And when it becomes
Mhm.
harassment and it becomes bullying, as a community, what do we do about that? How do we address that? Some say make rules, right? Others in the community say, well, the community should speak up and not allow those types of things. So we should use community feedback to really address the culture we want to make, and keep the rules very limited, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that we need to talk about in this next 6 months to figure out where we want to go as a collective.
Yeah, exactly. So, to kind of go away from all that mumbo jumbo, kind of tired of hearing about it, to be honest. But I had to ask about it because I was just wondering. It's just me, but is there anything else that you wanted to look at? I'm looking at the governance framework for NDC, and then Astra plus plus.
Yeah, so I mean, Astra Plus Plus is our governance tool, so that's where the community can go out, um, interact with proposals, vote. They can also comment on legislation that's starting. We've got a new product on there called Community Voice. If you have a SBT, you can go into different channels and start to address governance and discuss out there, different proposals. Illuminifty put up a proposal last night on Community Voice there. So it's open for comment. Also, you can do voting there. It also has integrations to what was known as AstroDAO. So a lot of the DAO mechanism mechanics are there. You can do all of that now on Boss. So it's really a wonderful product that's been created by the Tech Work Group. Shout out to those guys who created elections, candidacy, and now Astra Plus Plus, and many other products. You can actually find a list of the products they've created on the I Am Human website. They have a list of products there that you can check out, but lots of cool tools to really get this governance online. And now it's really to the community to begin to engage, right? We need really community input, community voice on these things. So yes, please head over to Astra Plus Plus and really begin to engage in governance on NEAR.
Yeah, anyone in the audience live right now or later on, you can click this little, or sorry, scan this QR code and check that out.
Mm.
I'm looking at it right now, and I love the dark mode. I always had a complaint until we get dark mode on some of these newer things, but dark mode is already there, or it's my browser, I think.
It might be your browser. Yeah, I don't think
It's
we
my
have
browser.
fully incorporated yet there. But yeah, for certainly, and longer term, that's where you hope the community really engages in these things. And they start to comment on what features they want to see, bugs, right? There's just a lot to do, and this is really now all of our opportunity to make NDC governance really serve the community and really serve growing and sustaining, supporting the near ecosystem at large. So exciting times.
Yeah.
It is.
Do you know of? I think you would know better than me. But is okay. Awesome Near is no longer right, or they're not like getting funding or something like that. Then it was supposed to be Horizon. Now Horizon's kind of going away from that. Where do we get a list that aggregates all puts all the information together for Near projects and possibly both Near and Aurora? Isn't there something we can look at?
Yeah,
That's
there,
how
there
I found Near.
yeah, there's a community project, I think being led under maybe one of these new grassroots, initiatives. I don't have it offhand, but I was
Was it?
trying to see if I still had it open. But yeah, there is a new boss. It's called Discover Boss, I believe. Discover.
Yeah.
I think a Web3 plug, or who was it? Someone was putting something together and they're actively checking. Like the community can check, the community can post, like, hey, this team is no longer around, this
I,
team rugged or whatever, this and that. Oh, man.
I got
I can't.
turned something on here. I got a video active. Let me find it. Here we go.
Are you talking about tracking the stats and thing that was
No,
built
no,
in
no,
the
no, no.
bus?
No, not. Him or me?
I think Trophy did build something with the couple guys and to track some things in the bus metrics. I guess I don't know if this is what you were talking about. Discover that was also launching on in bus, right? They are developing.
Yeah, it looks like it might be called discoverboss.org. That is a new
Yeah,
project that's kind of coming up there with all of the different components in Boss. They have it sorted by the component categories, whether it's a DAO or gaming, any of those things. So, yeah, that's certainly one that's coming online here. But yeah, I think it raises a great point, and that is discoverability, right? How do you discover all the amazing things going on in the near ecosystem? I know that Boss also put in upvotes now. So if you go to a component and you click the star, some of the components with the largest number of stars will be featured. So really getting your community engaged on, upvoting essentially your component is going to be like a interesting feature they launch. So that's going to be cool for discoverability.
Oh no, a few and fars on there. Get them out of there. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm looking at
they,
it
they,
now. I'm
they
seeing all the
tweeted they
projects.
tweeted token lunch and something like I think a week ago. I was like, "Fuck, these guys is doing," and they removed the comment section. I mean, Billy really loves you and for Billy loved the platform itself, like what the platform is, and I think a lot of the near community were very excited with few and far since we brought this topic. It's very old topic now, but yeah, it's sad, but maybe we can pick someone can pick up, where
I
few
didn't
and
want to
far
believe it at first.
rug.
I told Seuss, I said, no matter what, we're going to support few and far. And then I heard exactly what had happened. I was like,
I
well,
was like,
shit.
dude, why did I was telling Billy, like, dude,
He's
why
like,
do you love
no,
few and
no.
far, man? Tradeport is freaking amazing. I love Tradeport. Shout out to Tradeport. I
Yeah,
really, for us as well, is really good. But I mean, for like trading and like looking at NFT, Tradeport is insanely good at this. And he was like, "No, you and Farman is for gaming. You need to support the other." I was like, "Okay, okay." And then Triven was working with them, and Triven was like an active contributor in the near
Their
ecosystem.
community
So
manager, yeah.
yeah, and then they got VC funding, and everything was going perfectly. But I guess a
I think the
huge
foundation
potential,
heavily backed them.
yeah, a huge potential was unfortunately wasted from that platform due to bad actors in the founders team. I don't know how many are they, all of them or some part of them, some say all of them, some say a couple of them, but I mean, like, it's pretty sad. Yeah, yeah. So we are approaching the 1 hour 20 minutes. It's 3:30 a.m., guys,
Oh,
at
crap.
my place, and it's pretty late. Even my eye, I was looking at it a bit red-ish, but I'm gonna still stay up for, I think, in the morning because I'm trying to finish a report on the Nick Morning Show. But anyway, Blaze, it was really great talking to you, man. I really enjoy this episode. A lot of things, and I can sit here, to be honest, 3 4 hours just talk with you,
Yeah.
especially about NDC. I try to keep myself like very active through what's happening in the NDC. I think it's very important for any contributor in the ecosystem to be very familiar in everything happening in the NDC. So it's early stage, guys. All what we want is for it to succeed. We want to push forward, and we need to make sure that everything we are doing now is just gonna help to establish the foundation of where the next team will come later on in the next election will be able to continue building on it. So I don't know, Billy, if you have any closing statement. And hey, Blaze, man, this is the first time I talked to you. It was really great meeting you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Pleasure to meet both of you as well.
Yeah, I just want to give you the opportunity if you wanted to bring up anything or share anything towards while we're wrapping up. If you want to say anything or share anything, you got anything?
No, I think the only thing I would say is just to emphasize if you haven't become a human on Near, it might be something that you consider. You can go to iamhuman.app and register there. Just put dashes between the words. And join this voting body, join this, collective, the NDC. The criteria to join the NDC will be changing, but it really is our opportunity as an ecosystem to contribute and make this better. This all now falls to all of us to do. The voting body now has tremendous power. The community is in control of the NDC. So, that is the great news. But it does take all of us together to, understand what the NDC is and then, start or continue to contribute to make it better so that we can continue getting funding out there and keep this thing online.
Sweet. I have posted the links right there in the chat, and anyone who's still around can go ahead and click on that. Thank you, Blaze, for coming on, and I hope we can get you back on in the future when V1 or even V2 is online, whatever how it goes. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, and thanks for sharing all the links you shared today. And look forward to having you back on.
Yeah,
That
thanks.
should be it.
Look
Thank you.
forward to it. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
See you,
All right.
see you, man.
Bye-bye. Thank you.